Donald Trump is the best choice for Nigerians and indeed for Africans, even for the world. Hear this.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago.
And this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump is just the perfect choice, not about even being the right choice, the perfect choice for the world right now. Now the war in Ukraine will end. Many people, particularly Nigerians, I have seen very, very highly respected Nigerians like Bolaji Johnson, respected, highly respected, talk about how Donald Trump's win is victory for Putin and Kim Jong-un of North Korea and the likes. They are so wrong. You know, comments from such people just brings to the fore the wrong indoctrination that our so-called educated elites have been made to undergo. Yes, they're trained in the US-led West, educated in America, but is it a right education that they have? Anybody telling you that Donald Trump is not the best for Africa or that it's not the best for Nigeria does not understand what it means to be a sovereign country. People like my very favorite journalist, Rufai, comes out to even defend and castigate Donald Trump, to defend Kamala Harris. On this one, Rufai, you are very, very wrong. Absolutely wrong. Many people tout Kamala Harris to be a black woman, and the reason why she was not voted as president is because she's black and because she's a woman. No. If Kamala Harris was good for it, she will get the support. And in any case, one reason why people say that, oh, Kamala Harris may be better for Africa. What is all this talk about better for Africa? Some people are afraid that now that Donald Trump is president, that he will ban Japa to America, or he will deport all illegal immigrants, including Nigerians and Africans. And because of that, oh, it's not a good choice. I beg to differ. In fact, if you ask me, I would say Donald Trump, quickly. Now you're saying your first executive order will be to ban this LGBTQ thing or whatever. But I would say that your first executive order should be to ban Japa from Africa, please. We Africans and indeed Nigerians must begin to understand that nobody will build our land for us, our country for us, our continent for us, if not us. We are the only ones that can build our country. We are the only ones that can build our continent. We must stop this mental slavery syndrome that we have been caught in. We must stop it. Stop thinking, oh, what will America do for us? We don't need America to do anything for us. Whatever we need to develop Nigeria, to develop Africa, we already have. What we don't want is a Biden-led America or a Kamala Harris-led America forcing morality on us that is strange and alien to us. That is what we don't want. And in fact, I'm particularly happy that Kamala Harris lost, because for me, it is karma to the Democratic Party, to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for forcing Tinubu on Nigeria. I said it before that a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Tinubu, because they knew the baggages that Tinubu carried, but they still shielded him and forced him upon us. So if Kamala Harris lost because of this alone, for me, it is sufficient karma, it is sufficient retribution, it is sufficient punishment for forcing a leader that you know is not acting in the interest of his people, but in the interest of your own selfish people, for forcing it on a country like Nigeria. Good retribution. So please, look at this. How can you be forcing and suggesting to school children in nursery school, in primary school, that they may be trapped in the wrong body, that they should engage in surgical operations that would change their physical appearance? Many people don't know why Elon Musk was so invested in Donald Trump. It's because of things like this. And the better we realize it as Africans, the better. Thank God Donald Trump won. Peace for the world, moral freedom for Africa. But then again, the question is, what would we do with this moral freedom? In Nigeria here now, we're not even talking about what is going to happen in 2027. Everybody is busy getting distracted by Tinubu's gimmicks. If there is anything that we must learn from the US election, it should be that campaign of hate can never get anybody election victory. Campaign on hate. You cannot win an election by simply trying to portray your opponent as a bad person. People already knew who the opponent is. It didn't work for us with Tinubu in 2023. No matter how you try to explain it, it didn't work. It didn't work for Americans concerning Kamala Harris, concerning Donald Trump. It didn't work. Campaign of hate is not enough. Nobody's saying don't hold your leaders accountable. That's even a question for another day. Nobody's saying don't speak truth to your leaders. Speak truth. But you must realize that simply speaking truth to shine light on the activities of corrupt and bad leaders, to make them appear for who they are as corrupt leaders to the people, so that the corrupt, it's not enough. It's not enough for people to be able to vote in the right person. We have to go beyond just campaign of, I won't call it hate now, but campaign of hate. It will still be hate, because whatever it is that we're saying about Tinubu is so that people will hate the policies of Tinubu strong enough to be able to vote for the person that will bring the right policy. I think that's why we're doing what we're doing. So we must realize that that campaign is not sufficient. It didn't work with Tinubu in Nigeria. It didn't work with Kamala Harris. It won't work in 2027. By now, I would expect that all opposition should come together. This is not the time for a Showore to be fighting a Peter Obi. This is not the time for a Sheun Kuti to be fighting an Aisha Yesufu. This is not the time for a very dark man to be fighting a Femi Falana. It is not the time. I know that we are all very dug in, entrenched into our entrenched positions, but the truth must be told. When we fight ourselves, it is Nigeria and Nigerians that lose. It is Tinubu and his cohorts that win. We must put aside our differences, come together, and push a united front to save Nigeria from the hands of Tinubu and his people. And the only way to do that is two-pronged. Number one, solve the followership problem through the food and social welfare law, better than what Ned Walker is pushing now. And then on the other hand, we must solve the leadership problem by opening up the political terrain using an abundance party of Nigeria and all the reforms that it brings. Because that will be an in-route to get the other political party to do what they need to do, the right thing. Right now, they are not doing it because there's no incentive for it. It would be wonderful if the other political parties could do it. Things like free nomination form, things like direct primaries, things like online registration, and all of those things. Transparency, internal democracy. It would be perfect if the political parties could do it. Let's be honest. But the question we must ask ourselves is this: are they willing to do it? They are not. And the onus therefore rests on us to do it. And that's why the second prong of the two-prong approach is for us to solve the leadership problem using an abundance party of Nigeria as a benchmark political party. Join us in creating this party, as well as we ask you to join us in making sure that the Senate passes the social welfare, food and social welfare support bill. Thank you. This country, we can save it. Don't let anybody deceive you to make you believe that Nigeria is gone. They talk about there was a country and all that. All hope is not lost yet. Nigeria can still be salvaged. Yes. Nigeria can still be saved. Let us work together. These two solutions will solve everything. I tell you.